So I guess like walk me through how it started. So let's like start from the beginning. So you're an investment banker. You're used to putting things together, for majors, for acquisition. That's how you're looking at things. So talk me through that process, and then talk me through, so you get a hold of this company. It comes in as an asset, and then what you did to package it so it was ready for acquisition, and kind of walk me through the process. I mean, give me the
Sure,
story.
it was a neat process actually. Prior to Eagle Hill, I would come into companies, help them set up, basically be a corporate finance advisor, join the board, help raise capital, bring in a project, and then pass it off to the people to run it. The problem with that is I was dealing with too many clients, and I wasn't focused, I think is the wrong word, but I wasn't as driven on any one project as I should have been. And so with Eagle Hill, what I did is I dropped everything else I was working on and focused strictly on Eagle. And we had a couple of iterations. We were looking at various projects. We looked at one in the Yukon, but it was a company we literally set up from scratch. It was part of a CPC program, which is a capital pool company that was formed to look for projects. And this is a special vehicle that I had on the TSX Venture Exchange, and allow us to raise some capital to look for ventures. And then we found this Windfall Lake project. The project, as I had mentioned before, was on care and maintenance. It was owned by a company called Noront. Noront had some success on the property and were able to raise quite a bit of money based on this property alone, specifically one of the best holes in North America for gold discoveries. But they were also successful in their exploration of the Ring of Fire and the chromium play in Ontario. So that was their main focus. That's where their market cap got the biggest boost. And they decided to put Windfall Lake on care and maintenance. And I think this was in, I'm going to say December of 2008. And we came in and acquired the property in 2009 and were able to come up with a systematic exploration plan where we developed what the resource was, but more importantly, how the resource was located. And I had a couple of fantastic geologists that worked hard on the modeling. Neil Richardson was a huge help with this, but the person that's still on the project is Jean-Philippe Durocher. And he did an absolute fantastic job as far as modeling goes and where we should further develop the asset. Long story short is we took zero resource property and developed it into 1.8 million ounces of gold. We did a feasibility study with SRK, and we're able to show that even at 1.8 million ounces of gold, which is a lot of gold, but because it was a new mine, would be expensive to develop, it would still return about a 33 to 35% IRR. So hugely successful. Then at that point came a time where Ned Goodman at Dundee was working with Osisko Mining, or they were Cisco, I think at the time, or Oban at the time, and they were looking to acquire these closer to development properties. So they came in and through a couple of iterations, took over Eagle Hill, and it's now rolled into Osisko Mining, which has developed into an extremely successful company. And the property itself now has over 300 people on it. Last I heard, had 31 drill rigs. The resource is getting, I believe, close to 4 million ounces of gold, and just a huge success in an area of the world, especially the area of Quebec, that needs some further development. So they're doing a fantastic job there. So I'm very pleased with that, and that's the result of my biggest success, and that was acquired back in 2013, 2014.
So it's awesome. I mean, maybe tell me more about the details, like the numbers for people that are interested. I mean, how much was it sold for, and that kind of stuff,
Jason, I should have done a bit more research before I got into this, but I believe that we sold the company. We had some, not ups and downs, but based on the market conditions, we had gone up to about $75 million. And I believe at the time that we sold the company, we were at about $32 to $35 million market cap. I couldn't tell you where, well, I could tell you, I think Osisko now has about 250 million shares outstanding. It's trading around $4. Their main asset is the Windfall Lake project. They put everything else on, not hiatus, but their main goal is to develop Windfall Lake. And so it's going to be a big success.
So I guess, to give people insight, at least what I'm hearing. So, and you can touch me up if I'm a little bit off. But at one point you guys had a $70 million market cap, give or take. Now that asset is a part of another company you sold, and now that asset is looking at it's somewhere around the spectrum of $1 billion, give or take. Obviously, the company's focusing on a couple different assets, but that's a big part of it. And hey, you did it. You found one. You made it happen. So that's awesome. And I think it's important to say that we're going into what looks like a very hot mining market. With gold being the big catalyst for it. But I think it's great to remind people that, hey, like, you did it. You did it when a lot of other people haven't. And really, it's not just selling a pipe dream. You know how to do it. You know how to package things for an acquisition. And I think that's fantastic.
Oh, thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. It wasn't me, it was the team. I'm pleased to play a big part of developing that team, and I think giving the blank sheet so that they can turn around and develop it. But there was a lot of people, everybody from the lawyers to the geologists to the workers, the drillers, the whole team combined to put together a very good plan. But there were some mistakes I made with that project, and I've learned a lot from that. And applying some of the education I have or the experience that I got from that into Secova, I think will be even further beneficial to Secova's shareholders. We're looking at a very interesting project right now. We've got basically 2 projects that we're looking at. It's something where we will be in a position to produce gold by the end of this year. So it's very different from Eagle Hill, where we took basically an unknown or a zero resource company and did exploration to come up with something, or potentially come up with something. Whereas this, we already know what the gold is. It's simply a case of processing it. So very straightforward, very easy to do the math to see where we should be, and something that we can control probably better than what we could with the asset in Eagle Hill.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, it sounds like a little bit of perfect timing. Obviously with gold moving, Secova, obviously a big part of the assets you guys have is gold. For a junior company, or in this case is a junior mine, really it sounds like it'd be the perfect timing to start taking some of the gold out if you can get it out this year. I mean, gold looks amazing. What's your kind of take there?
Well, you're talking very much from a how's the company on the stock perspective, and that's hugely important. But there's another aspect too for Secova, and that is, yes, we're going to be able to access what I think is going to be a very, very strong and supported gold market over the next 5 to 10 years. In addition, we're doing some pretty good stuff, and with the isolation and COVID, I think a lot of people are looking at how they're doing business and what their business is that they are doing. And I'm very pleased to say that we're providing far more value added than just mining gold. We're taking something that's an environmental mess, we're cleaning it up. We're cleaning it up by providing good jobs in an area that needs some work. We're then creating gold and silver, we're extracting metals. But then we're able to turn around and build concrete building blocks out of the residue that's left over from the extraction of the gold and the silver. We're effectively a high-tech or a mineral resource recycler. So it's a very good story. It's a 3-pronged story. I think that's important to get across. Yes, gold and silver are going to be the main fundamentals, and they're going to create extremely good earnings for the company. Based on that, we can turn around and do some better good.